Local Gods. My name is Marco Liu.
And I'm James Han.
And today our guest is Remy Morimoto Park, aka Veggiekins. She is a content creator, a wellness guru, a matcha founder, like so many different things. But I think what's important to us is to know, like, since you, from what I understand, you are Korean, Japanese, and Taiwanese.
Yes.
Which of those cultures do you identify with the most, and which one do you like the most?
Ooh,
You can't say I love them all equally. You
I
have to-
am,
you gotta choose one.
okay. I am the most Korean because my dad is fully Korean.
Okay.
So I think growing up, I felt maybe the most Korean. I feel like my language skills are probably the best. You know, like culturally, I feel like I understand it. But obviously, with the matcha and just being really close with my mom's side of the family, I think I gravitate more towards Japanese culture. That and like making vegan food, I think it's a little easier with Japanese cuisine also compared to like Korean culture. Also, there's like a lot of drinking. Like there's a lot of things about me that I feel like are not that Korean. Like, don't cancel me. I don't like kimchi. So, you know, it's
Okay.
like...
Are you all right?
Oh no!
You're
hey,
shaking.
she first. What the? Yo, she said Korean first. So I was like,
Yeah, but then the no kimchi is like, or like dislike kimchi.
it's fine.
You know, so and then Taiwanese, I do feel close to it because my family lives in Taiwan for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think the food is really like fire. So.
Very underrated. Very underrated. So can you speak all three languages?
Yeah. My Mandarin is probably the best though, just because I lived in Asia for so long and we mostly lived in like Chinese speaking countries. But the rest are like very like elementary.
Man, it's
you
like,
know?
真的?
真的.
Jinja?
Oh.
So desu ka? Like, all three of them. Like,
You're terrible.
that's amazing.
We gotta like mix it in mid convo. All three.
Oh, okay.
For sure.
And how?
And how?
And how?
But I think what makes it so exciting for us to talk to you, and something that we don't hear you talk about as much on other podcasts or other platforms, is the fact that you are the Asian of the future.
Oh.
You're the type of Asian that people like our parents' age or Gen X or older Asian Americans, where they grew up in Chinatown or old school J-Town, they probably couldn't have imagined that people like you would exist, where it's like you're multicultural, multilingual. Were you born here? Like, what's your story?
Yeah, so my family's from Queens in New York, so we are from the East Coast.
All right.
But the interesting thing is we moved overseas when I was really young. So like 7 years old, we moved to Asia. And that's when we started going to international schools. But I think the weird thing about that is like, obviously I'm Asian, but being in Asia, I'm not that Asian. You know what I mean? Like,
True.
I'm not local. I didn't really speak any Chinese when I moved over there. And I felt super whitewashed compared to everyone that I was going to school with. But at the same time, like all of our school classes would be taught in English. We took like AP US history, which
So
is
straight up international school
Yeah.
with kids from all over the world.
Exactly. And then you
Got
come
it.
back and you feel like, oh, I'm not that American anymore either. So that's like kind of like the weird box that I'm in. But I think it's great because I feel like I can really shapeshift depending on like what room I'm in. Like that's, I think, what I took away from that experience the most. And maybe like not so much with Koreans because my Korean's not like the best. And like I said, like I don't eat
They'll
kimchi.
judge you.
Yeah.
I know Koreans.
they might
They'll judge you.
But yeah, so it was definitely a very diverse upbringing, and I've always lived in very diverse cities like LA, New York. So I never felt out of place too much, but at the same time I knew I was kind of in a weird position, like Asian but not too Asian, you know?
To rewind a little bit, because this is something that impresses me even more. So you say you're from Queens. Where I feel like if a white person asked this, it'd be weird. But where are your parents from?
So my mom is Japanese and Taiwanese,
Okay.
and my dad is fully Korean. They both grew up kind of in New Jersey and in New York. That's like where they
Bergen
met.
County?
In college. Yeah, Bergen County. Yes. But my grandparents are the ones that, when they first immigrated here, they were in Queens. And that's where I think like my mom and her siblings grew up the most. By the time I was born, I was like a little bit in Queens, a little bit in Fort Lee, Bergen County. Like we moved around quite a bit, even in the US, but always like on the East Coast. And then my Korean side of the family lived in Palisades Park. Everything sounds so cliche, but you know.
Hey, people know where to go to find their people,
Yeah,
right?
Seriously.
exactly.
But at least for me, like most Asian Americans, especially in LA, I would say are second generation. That means our parents were the immigrant generation and we were born here.
Yeah.
But you're actually third generation, right?
Yeah.
So your parents, they they're basically like us.
Yeah, we're basically
They're one step ahead.
Yeah, no, you're
yeah.
one step
wild.
ahead.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny is when we moved to Asia, it was like a strange experience for them too, because they didn't really have roots to Taiwan or like any country that we went to. My dad maybe a little bit because I think he moved to the U.S. for high school, so a little bit later.
Oh,
but,
okay.
It was really like a first experience for them too, like a lot of culture shock, which is kind of a crazy thing. And then I noticed a difference between me and my younger sisters because there's like a 10-year age gap between them, and they never really grew up in the U.S. We were already living in Asia by the time they were born, and they'll tell me like, I'm feeling really Chinese, like, and I was like, I never feel that way, you know.
Man,
like
they're like 20 years ahead of the trend. Like I'm in a very Chinese phase of my life.
Yeah.
We
It's like
joke
they've
about
been
that
feeling
all the
that for a long
time.
time.
Yeah, like their
Wow.
comfort food is like Chinese food. The other one is like Korean food, and for me, it's like I don't know. I want like tomato soup. So we're definitely different in that sense.
Okay.
It hit us all differently, I think.
Okay, that brings up an even more important question because this is something that James and I get into all the time. Do you like Chinese food better or Korean Chinese food? Because it is not the
Oh.
same.
Do we tiff about this much?
I politely like.
So wait, so
partake.
are you Chinese?
My parents are from Taiwan.
Okay.
So
period.
depending on who you ask, I may or may not be Chinese.
No, you're
I may or
Taiwanese.
may not even be Taiwanese. Who knows? But my parents are from Taiwan. Yeah.
Okay, that explains like Orange County too. I feel like, because there's so many Taiwanese people here.
Yes,
like
true.
in LA.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna say I like Chinese food with the exception of jjajangmyeon is so good. Korean jjajangmyeon is really good.
What
the
say
only
you,
thing I can
James?
think of.
I'm curious.
No, like what else am I
Is it
missing?
jjajangmyeon or jjajangmyeon? Oh, which one?
Did a term like jajang exist in Korean prior to jjajangmyeon getting to Korea? I rest my case.
What are the other dishes that like are Korean?
Because it
Chinese,
actually
though?
means something. Because like from what I understand, jjajangmyeon is just like sounds of words. It doesn't actually mean anything.
Oh.
But
I thought it was like fried sauce noodles.
yeah,
no?
well, in Chinese,
Oh.
zajang is like fried sauce,
Yeah.
right? That's a literal like zajang.
Right.
But then like Koreans, like if I had to ask them, okay, what does jjajangmyeon mean? They're like, oh,
I couldn't tell you.
jjajangmyeon. Yeah. I just think it's interesting because like if you grow up with jjajangmyeon, like Chinese style jjajangmyeon, you're thinking like a meat sauce, like a ragu.
Yeah.
But then if you grow up with jjajangmyeon, you're thinking gravy. It might be a little sweeter. It might have a little bit umami. So I'm curious. Okay, as someone who is literally in between and someone who is very Korean, like, explain it to me. Like, what makes jjajangmyeon so good? Because to me, I remember the first few times I had it, I was like, what is this? Like, I was just like, yeah.
I mean, I think it's so I've had good jjajangmyeon too. I think I like all the things that come with jjajangmyeon, like all the extra, like the 탕수육 and the ganpungi.
Oh, so like the overall meal,
Having
the
it
sweet and sour
together,
pork and
yeah,
all
yeah.
that,
If you were to just like give me one, like side by side, I mean, I actually like noodles that are a little drier. So by principle, I should like jjajangmyeon a little more by itself. It feels just the noodle dishes. But usually it's never that. It's you go there and then you have everything else that comes with it. And when I had jjajangmyeon, it was just like a dish by itself. It didn't have any
True.
this assortment with it. So I don't know. I like the jjajangmyeon, the whole experience. You go for that vibe. Whereas the jjajangmyeon is just one dish you have among many others in that dinner table.
And that's a great answer. I've never thought of it that way because like jjajangmyeon. See, now I'm mixing the two. Jjajangmyeon, the Chinese style of the dish, is very much like it's working class food. So it's something that laborers eat before they go and work
fast carbs.
14 hours a day. But then I like the idea that within the Korean Chinese cuisine experience, it's part of a whole. Like, do you feel the same way, or is there specific nostalgia for that dish specifically?
I think for me, it's the noodles because I feel like the Chinese jjajang, like the noodles, there's like the knife cut,
Yeah.
they're like maybe thicker, chewier. Like the Korean one's always like that almost spaghetti vibe one. You know what I mean? I'm a big noodle girl, so like
Okay.
for me, it's the noodle.
Like there's better
Wow.
chew.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You
That's
know?
true. Huh.
Interesting.
Are the knife because the knife cut ones are usually fatter,
Yeah, they're like thick.
real
Yeah.
thick.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a different like mouth feel and like just the way
That's
the
what it's
sauce
called.
coats it. Yeah,
I
I'm
know.
like,
That's
I'm
the
not saying the
official
controversial
term.
mouth feel, bro.
What, bro?
You work in
I'm just
food.
happy here.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
So would you also consider yourself a third culture kid? Because that's become like more of the academic term for where you're not quite here, you're not quite there. You kind of, but you're able to split time with both pretty easily.
Yeah, I would say so. I feel like I relate a lot to like military kids.
Yeah.
It's like same experience.
Army brat. Yeah.
Yeah, because also beyond just like a third culture, I think you're in this like separate culture of, for me, living in an expat community where we're kind of separate from the rest of like the people in the country that we're living in. So like when I lived in Shanghai, like all the places that we would go to were full of other foreigners and like expatriates specifically. We had like compounds and schools, like all the places that you go are kind of all like very insulated. And it's the same thing with like military, army, like obviously living on base and stuff. It's a very different experience. Like you're not necessarily in the culture locally. And then same with like boarding school kids. I feel like we kind of have a similar vibe. So
True.
I think I would probably say that.
I think in 2026, especially like even in I think both of our recent travels to Asia, expat is no longer something people are excited about. Like the idea of like essentially being a cultural carpetbagger where you're there and can come and go as you please. It feels very like tone deaf, if anything.
Sure.
But now as an adult, is that something that you would consider? Whether for yourself or, you know, at some point in the future where you want to just jump all over the world and split time or live as an American there or,
I think about it all the time, actually, because I loved my experience growing up. There were also definitely some negatives. Like, for example, I don't have a lot of childhood best friends that I grew up with. Whereas, like, I meet people here and they're like, oh my God, my friend from kindergarten. I'm like, I don't really have that because we moved around so much. So there's like little things like that that I definitely miss. And at the same time, I feel like the experience was awesome because travel is not something that I'm ever afraid of. Like, it's just very second nature to me. But I also feel like I get very restless and like I have to travel, or I start to feel like maybe I need to move and I can't be in LA anymore, you know? So I'm not really sure. I think with the way things are going now, if I were to have kids, I think it's a great thing to be kind of cultured and like experience how other people live. But I really don't know. I think it just would depend on kind of where I end up and like if I have kids and how the world is looking at that time.
Well,
you know?
if you had to have segments of your kids' life in different countries, how would you do it? Like you have to stay in America, Korea, Taiwan, Japan.
Ooh.
Or you can add a fifth in there, but like, you know, from 0 to 1 years old to 10, I would stay here. And you know,
Yeah.
like, do you if you had to?
You know, I think maybe at a very young age, being overseas is great because I feel like it's a very safe place. Like we'd take taxis by ourselves when we were like 12 years old,
true.
you know? And it's like not an issue. And then you come back here and you're like, oh my God, it's so dangerous to be alone.
We'd never see you again if you were like a little kid.
Oh, geez, yeah.
So that part, but then I also think that there's something to be said about growing up in a city where you have to be a little bit smarter and like aware, you know, that maybe some of my friends were kind of lacking because they never had to worry about safety when they're younger. So maybe like teen years, being in the US is good because like IDs are a thing here, which is great. I think like I had access to a lot of things super young.
What do you mean?
Like for substances, like drinking.
Getting your ID check.
Yeah, like I think that's kind of a good thing here because I just could do anything when I was like 13, you know.
Right.
And then I feel like coming back for college was a great move too, just because I think it's a little easier to start working here maybe and then move overseas versus the other way around. Like I think, you know, US passport, having a job here, not having to worry about a visa, I feel like that was a huge struggle for a lot of my international friends. So
That's a big
that's and everyone kind of comes back. Like once you finish high school at an international school, like everyone just kind of goes back to where they came from. So yeah.
Wow.
Or like, what about between New York and LA? So you have to
gosh.
raise your kids in New York with like real dope amenities though. You know?
Yeah.
Or
which part of New York? You have to qualify that too.
Well, I mean, it's her choice. I never lived in New York, so I wouldn't.
I love people from New York because I feel like you never have to guess how they're feeling, and I feel like it's a different thing here that I kind of had to learn. And I'm like, oh, okay, not everything is the way that it seems in LA. So can I say like bi-coastal? I feel like that's like the best case scenario, which is why I love living that way now. You know. Like the perfect city would be if like New York and LA had a baby. That's where I want to live.
Is there a close equivalent?
Well, it's like a place.
Atlanta?
Atlanta.
No,
everyone's like, no.
It's like an inside joke. No, we're not Atlanta. No, I don't know. Like maybe Austin tried to be like that.
That's a good point.
Maybe,
Yeah.
like somewhere that has like media and a lot,
Right.
like a robust industry,
Yeah.
but also like has the busyness and metropolis feel of New York,
Sure.
and everything's like, I mean,
I think it depends, like, where you end up to. Like, if I wasn't doing creative work, New York would be fine. Like, when I was working corporate, I couldn't really imagine working corporate here. People don't seem to really, I mean, I shouldn't say it, but, like, it's like everyone has really flexible hours.
Sure.
yeah.
Whereas New York, it's like, it's very set and, like, everything just functions like routine. And I don't know, it works. So,
It's true. None of my friends are available in New York.
Right.
To hang out like Monday for an afternoon coffee. No one's
Does
available.
that happen?
They're all
Yeah,
working.
Exactly.
Yeah. I hate to admit it, but like the way you guys are both describing it, it sounds like the Bay.
I
sounds like
actually think the
NorCal.
Bay is kind of like a
Oh.
combo of both, except for that it's really cold. If it wasn't cold, I'd probably live in the Bay.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think the drawback, yeah, like weather's kind of a thing because if you're not a cold weather person, it kind of sucks because it's not as bad as
Yeah.
New York, but it's definitely colder than Southern California.
Yeah.
And I think to really enjoy all of the Bay, you really have to be willing to go from SF to Oakland to like freaking San Jose, and those are long drives,
Yeah.
even from LA standards. So
Right.
yeah.
I almost ended up there. I thought about it
Okay,
from New York, but I'm happy I ended up in LA.
got it,
Yeah.
got it.
For what?
I used to work a corporate job for like 3 months. It was my first job. I was working in consulting. And before I signed on full time, I was like, let me just take a couple interviews like in the Bay and see if I like it. So I interviewed at Tesla and I was thinking about working there.
I've been sick.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it depends on which
I'm not
perspective.
complaining.
Yeah,
That didn't work out, you know?
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I tried it out and I was like, damn, the vibe is just like, it's very intense there where I feel like there aren't as many creatives there because it's almost cooler there to just be really good at doing something tech and like corporate or startup. Like social media is not really cool, in the Bay, it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a side dish
Right.
compared to the main course of the actual
Right.
tech, right?
Yeah.
So it sounds like your parents kind of set this standard of being adventurous, and because they took a leap as essentially Asian Americans, like Japanese, Korean Americans, to go to Asia to, I guess, pursue like, were they business owners or like what? How would you describe it?
My dad was working for an Asian company, which is why
wow.
we ended up moving over there. My
Okay.
mom was working a lot in New York at the time. She was working on Wall Street for a little bit, and just like she was kind of like finance bro, like worked
Whoa.
really hard.
With like
Yeah. The big
vest.
shoulder.
Yeah, like I would go to work with her.
vest.
Wow.
Okay, nice.
And then when we moved over there, I think it was just a little bit more manageable for her to be more of like a mother, And so that was a big part of the reason why we moved. So my dad could kind of do more of the heavy lifting, and she could kind of be more mother because I have 2 younger sisters. But I don't know if they're necessarily the most adventurous because they both work pretty standard jobs. I think me quitting my job was the first sort of like unorthodox career that we had in my entire family.
Interesting.
And then I see it kind of now trickling down with my younger sisters a little bit more. Like my youngest sister's a tattoo artist.
I was gonna say graffiti, like, really edgy at this point. Yeah.
So I think they're very open-minded. Like I wouldn't say they're the most Asian traditionally. Like they've never been super judgmental. They're kind of whitewashed, open-minded. Yeah.
Understood. So
Wait, that would be like our.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
keep thinking,
It
I'm
sounds
like, would I be like this as a
like ideally that sounds kind of like me. But anyway,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
but well, okay, maybe not adventurous, but pragmatic at least, right?
Yeah.
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 But I think like just knowing your story, it's really interesting that like what brought them to Asia, whether it's through work or just like a lifestyle change, it led to like a huge chain of events for you. So like how would you describe how Veggiekins came to be and how your journey from Asia back to the States kind of like covers that?
I actually started social media way back. I was on like Tumblr. I don't know if you guys remember like those days.
It wasn't that long ago.
Okay, it feels like does it not exist anymore or something?
It's true. It's not as cool, I guess. I like Tumblr. The UI was very easy to use.
Yeah, it was a great time. And that was actually the time at which I started thinking about, LA is a cool place to be, like when I was applying to college, because so many people, specifically Asians, on Tumblr at that time were all from LA.
Sure.
But I don't know. I feel like Asians were big on Tumblr at that time. Like just being Asian was like enough, and then
They
you
had
could,
the
like,
more
blow up.
aesthetic pages. I remember.
So I started social media kind of back then without realizing it. And I think moving to Asia, the biggest change for me was obviously the culture shock, but also this feeling of being very American and like aware of like my body. Like I've been this height since I was 12. But I don't know. I felt like very American in the sense that like my relationship with food was like all about like snacks and like very American food, you know? So moving over there was like a shift in the food that we ate too, because you couldn't just find like Bisquick and like stuff that you were used to eating over there. Like all of a sudden we had to eat
you
like,
were
rice
white
all the
white.
time. I like
Wait,
Pancake mix?
Wait, what's Bisquick?
Pancake mix, right?
Oh, that's Bisquick? I was trying to think, like, is this some biscuit cracker? Like, what?
Yeah, I was like, Bisquick is pretty white
Bisquick,
bread.
what,
It's
you-
like pretty Wonder Bread. Like, what are their big brands?
Oh, we also
like,
ate like
my-
kimbap, you know? It was
Yeah.
like, it just, we had like
Yeah.
both.
She's panicking.
Bisquick and kimbap.
I want to take like a BuzzFeed quiz on like what percentage I am Asian.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But
Yeah.
you know, it was like a lot of shifts, and then also access to, like I said, like drugs, alcohol, partying, like all of that was fairly normal in Asia. So
Yeah.
at least in the setting that I was in, like international school stuff. So I feel like I didn't have control over a lot of things in my life at that time because we moved and my whole life changed, but I did have access to all these different things, and I really like leaned into that. I think I was just like, you know, when you're a teenager, everything seems extra dramatic and like any feeling you have is like super intense. And a lot of the things that I went through, I just kind of like dulled it with like alcohol, drugs, and
Wow.
I think
Like,
being
all the
so young,
change that you're going through.
yeah, all the change, and then like I basically had my first night out in Asia, and I experienced like 5 major things at once, and I think everything felt a lot less serious after that. You know, I was just like, oh, okay. I was so afraid of it, but I did it, and like it's not that big of a deal.
Just a regular night in
What,
Seoul.
like near death, kidnapped? Well, I mean, you don't have to.
Yeah, what were the
Goodness,
five things?
I mean,
Yeah.
we can talk about it. It was the first time I'd really drank. First time I tried ketamine. That was my first substance. I didn't know what it was, but
So big out in Asia. Like, it kind of blows my mind,
Yeah.
especially like even like 20 years ago. It was like
I think because like weed wasn't really as big in Asia. It was really more like coke, like maybe like hash and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and drinking. So that happened. It was like my first like encounter with like a man in like a negative way. You know what I mean? So just a lot of things.
How
that-
old were you?
I was 13.
13.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So
that's
it was a
awesome.
lot of things that I thought were like pretty serious, and they are. But once it's over with, you're kind of desensitized to a lot of it. And I was like, this is not as serious as I thought. I smoked a cigarette. I smoked. It was like everything.
Yeah.
And after that night, I was like, wow, I'm an adult. I'm a woman. I'm an adult. You know, like this shit is like whatever. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And I just kept going and going and going. And anytime something would come up that was like remotely negative, and there were like a few things in high school, I would just go like deeper into it. And it's interesting because you kind of, at least I set these boundaries with myself. Like, okay, I've tried these things, but I would never like do anything with like a needle. I would never do like a synthetic. You just keep going, you know? So that was like a huge shift for me. And I think when I got to college back in the US, I realized how abnormal a lot of those experiences were. Like even just talking to my first roommate, and I'd be like, oh, you know, when you like, you know, do a bunch of coke and then you try to like do a downer to kind of feel, you know, like having these conversations, and she's like, no.
What's downer?
Yeah, she's like, I don't know. And then
Coca-Cola?
having to have a fake, even like I was like, what? Why do we need a fake?
Yeah.
So I realized that shit is weird, and I need to like, you know, calm down. I have like a new opportunity in a new environment to kind of like restart. Things are more important now that I'm in college, and so coming back, that's when I started my social media, and I was working through a lot of things. I was going to AA during my college years, and that's when I started blogging. So it used to really be more about like recovery, wellness. I went vegan around the same time. So in a way, I feel like all those experiences and like living overseas, had that not happened, I probably would not be blogging.
In
or
Asia,
content
though,
creating.
I've always wanted to know, because you live there, like, are dudes just like, these are the type of, what kind of, you know, how are you getting access to that?
Kind of like at the club, kind of, you know, they're always like around. It's the environments that you're in. It's not hard to find these things.
I see.
And then the more you're there, like there's always someone who knows someone.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, copy.
Then you kind of get like friendly with them, and then you need it, so you stay friends with them, and then
Right.
So-
right. Oh, okay.
yeah.
I was gonna say, like, in response to everything, like both pre-college and post-college, it feels like you take big swings. Like,
Yeah.
you like
Big
become an
means
adult
business.
overnight, and then you become like vegan, and, like, sobriety overnight. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
so all the stuff during high school, was that mainly in Korea or
That was mainly in Shanghai.
in Shanghai?
So we lived there for the longest time. My parents still live there now. That was like
Okay.
kind of where we ended up.
Uh-huh.
And I would say, yeah, I feel like I'm a very extreme person, but I think that also has to do with being an addict. Like everything is so intense.
Yeah.
There's no like, it's 0 or 100, you know?
Yeah.
So
For
it's like,
sure.
okay, I'm getting sober now. Like I'm 100% sober. Or now I'm vegan. Now I'm like doing like, it's just everything is so intense, you know?
I see. Yeah, it's so interesting because I think the differences in culture and laws create a lot of these situations. Like, for example, I know for a fact in Taiwan, because ketamine was prescribed to treat like depression or things like that, it was pretty easy to get ketamine, right? And then it was like some random teenage kid could just be a dealer.
Right.
Because they're
No,
being
really,
prescribed it
yeah.
for some issues, and then
Damn.
they just like sell it to their friends. But I guess like what is the link? Because it seems like you have a very tactile, visceral connection to consumables, right? Because like the things you miss in the States versus the things that you had available to you in Asia versus like cutting those things cold turkey and diving straight into not a food, like a dietary lifestyle, not just
Yeah.
like a preference. Like where do you see that interaction?
That's a really good point, actually. I think it goes back to feeling like you have a sense of control over something. A big thing for a lot of people that have eating disorders, which I had in the past, it's really about control at the end of the day. It's not really about it is about the food for some people, but it's about the control. And that's a very easy thing to control. Like your diet, how much you're working out. That's something that no matter your circumstance, like only you can control. And I think it comes down to that for me too. Yeah. You know, but I think there's also a small element of like once I got sober, I kind of realized that a lot of addiction is a very selfish disease. And I feel like I was kind of the complex that I have is that, oh, I spent so many years being like a shitty person. And I really wanted to instead do the extreme opposite and try to do things that were really positive, like for myself, but also for animals, for the environment. You know, I do a lot of
Oh, okay.
being vegan, and a lot of like community work. I just felt like I had an opportunity to do the reverse, but it comes down to like that extreme thing again, where it's just like everything I do is like 110%, you know. So, but yeah, I think it's control, and I don't know. No one's really asked me that before, so.
Okay, we're doing our job here on Local Gods.
Yeah.
But I think it's always like it's an interesting topic, but it's also something that like I can't speak for James, but for me, I try to be very careful with it because I believe that men and women are very different. Like we're wired differently, and to see like what would produce like eating disorders or other issues in women, it could produce just anger. Because I feel like I read somewhere that for most guys, especially in the West, every emotion is essentially anger. You're angry. You're like you have anger. You're hungry. You're angry. You're sad. You're angry. Like you're depressed. You're angry. Like everything ends up being anger.
I wish I could be angry.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe
Yeah.
that's another extreme you can explore at some point.
That's next
The
on my
rage
to-do list.
era.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, do you find yourself like, especially because you were experiencing like phases of life before a lot of your college peers, even like,
Yeah.
do you find yourself in a mentorship role a lot and like in a teaching role?
I think maybe inadvertently, like with friends. I think a lot of people meet me and think I'm a lot younger than I am, but then when they really get to know me, they're like, "Damn, you're kind of like 60 years old inside. Like something about you feels really old." A lot of my friends are.
You look good for 60. Yeah.
Thank you. That Asian genes, you know.
I know. That's right.
So I think a little bit, yes, but I'm also the type of person to be very non-judgmental with my friends. Like I'm not the type to give you super harsh advice, even though like I may have thoughts, because I really believe in everyone kind of going through things at their own pace. It's a similar concept with, I think, what I learned through going vegan is that like you can't force anyone to do anything. And if you tell them to do it, it actually sometimes has the opposite effect.
Right.
The only thing you can do is really lead by example. So I think with my socials and being, you know, sober and living like a healthier lifestyle, that's my way of like, you know, this is how I live my life. I would never share something like you should be doing this or, you know, villainizing certain foods or telling people how to work out. Like, that's not really my thing. It's like, this is how I'm doing things. If you're into it, you like it, like, amazing, you know?
Yeah.
But leading by example, I think, is the best way for me personally. And so I guess in a way, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, isn't it crazy too? Now, like Gen Z and younger kids aren't even drinking anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone's going sober, so you're kind of on trend.
It is kind of crazy and something I didn't think I would really see, you know, because I think it's one of the most normalized things, like drinking, and even like what else is like another really like coffee, caffeine. Like there are certain addictions that are so normalized, it's actually more bizarre if you're sober.
True.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, going to these like non-alcoholic bars. It's a very interesting experience.
Yeah, or even in LA, like, what? You don't smoke weed? That's fucking weird. And I'm like, is it?
Dude, these kids are ripping hella vapes.
Yeah, that's true. That's the vice.
Yeah.
They at least got the vapes, you know?
Gambling apps and vapes are the Gen
Oh, yeah,
Z.
yeah. trying to hit their parlays.
Gambling
over
apps
and
is
under.
crazy.
Yeah, on Cancha or whatever.
I don't even know, dude. Yeah.
Gambling apps is really crazy.
Yeah, so, I mean, have you ever had a vegan face? Or did you ever... I'm not trying to be funny, James, but like...
It is Veganuary, you know?
I've been like a part-time vegan.
Yeah. I think anytime I've been vegan was like accidental.
Okay.
Like not by intention.
Just like living in LA, like you ate a salad or...
Well, I mean...
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I just ate a salad and that was it.
I think, well, what ends up being very interesting if for the Asian, like LA Asian, like Southern California Asian American experience is there's a lot of veganism just by nature culturally for these different Asian communities, right? Like especially if there's a Buddhist tradition.
True. Yeah.
Temple food, right? Because there's temple food and like Chinese cuisine, Vietnamese cuisine, like what was that show? Like Culinary Class Wars?
Right.
Isn't like one of the front runners like essentially like a itinerant monk or something? And like
I believe so.
he's like killing the competition because like people haven't had that type of food before.
Right.
So for me, it's like it's more of just like stumbling into those things and being like, oh, there was no meat and there were no like meat products.
Yeah, I do think Asians are a little bit more open to it because there's not a lot of dairy in the cuisine either.
True.
Obviously, modern food like the rose tteokbokki, that's like, you know, but that's more modern. That's not like traditional Korean food.
They weren't doing that 500 years ago?
No,
like,
there was
doing
no cheese on
mozzarella.
the
Yeah, massive cheese pulls.
Yeah, like also we're lactose intolerant, so it's like
For a lot of
we really
people,
should not be eating that. But you know, so I feel like that's more open-minded, and then also like being in LA, there's definitely this. Everyone knows what vegan is, and everyone's probably had a vegan meal.
True.
That's not really so much the case in New York compared to LA and other.
Really?
Like
Say
definitely
more.
there's some, but not as much. Not as much as here. Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I think part of it is that health conscious lifestyle. There's like a certain angle of thinking about veganism where it more relates to like weight loss for people and health and like thinness and, you know, that type of thing. And I think that's more prevalent here. You know, you see it a lot with like a lot of actors, a lot of celebs are vegan.
Yeah.
But it's not, I wouldn't say it's connected to like a loving of animals per se. It's more like about health. Like they're not
That's
eating
a
like
great
Oreos.
point, yeah.
Yo, do, you think
You
it's
know?
hard, do you think it's harder to be a vegan in cold weather?
Yes, I do. I'm
It's
I'm
freezing.
low-key anemic, so that's I'm always cold. I'm working on it this year. But I will say when I was raw vegan for a few months, doing that in New York was almost impossible because it's like
That's tough.
smoothies,
Yeah.
acai bowls, and I'm like, damn, I just really want like soup. But yeah.
Okay, that brings us to some nitty gritty because I feel like I can understand at least theoretically how you can eat certain foods as protein replacements. And just like satiate yourself in different ways without using any meat products or any animal products as a whole, right? Like there are replacements for honey and things like that, right? But then something that I feel like has been very big, especially in Southern California, and especially among people that are health conscious, broth. How do you deal with that? Because
Like bone broth.
yeah,
That's actually I feel very Asian. Don't you think? Like
Like being
that's-
able to not have it, or
No, like bone broth is like such an Asian thing. I feel
we take it for granted. It's like
Yeah.
I think when like the West discovered it, we're like, bro,
Discovered,
like,
yeah.
like we've what?
Been
like
on that.
that's just broth.
yeah.
I will say, as a vegan, like this is a hot take, but I think I do appreciate that that's popular now because one thing about people who eat meat, like I have no judgment against people who eat meat. Most of my friends are not vegan. It is what it is. But I think there's something to be said about using like the whole animal if you're going to use it. And I respect that a little more, like, which is why most chefs in like respectable restaurants, like they're taught not to waste. They'll use everything from like the bones
Hoof
to
to
the
tail.
skin. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. You know, if you're going to eat an animal, like use the whole thing. Don't be wasteful, you know? So in that sense, I feel like broth is great because that's a byproduct of stuff that would normally maybe be like tossed out.
Yeah.
But how do I feel about broth culture? I mean, there's like some people making like mushroom broth that's pretty good.
Interesting.
So that's like an option that you see at some spots.
Huh.
I think even like there's a spot in New York called Brodo, and they have like a mushroom broth that's pretty good.
Wow.
So it's not the same, obviously. With there isn't like the collagen and stuff, but there's like minerals from the mushrooms. So
Interesting.
yeah.
So being essentially a guru in this space, at least to us, like you already know like things that I've never considered, like making non-meat broth. Like that's really interesting.
Yeah, I think it forces you to get a little bit more creative and like really get to know food when you have limited options. Like all of a sudden you're doing crazy things with like cauliflower, you know, or like you're like making a cashew cheese. Like I'd never done anything with cashews before I was vegan. So I think that's part of the reason why I got more interested in food and started posting like recipes, was because it's a lot easier to just make it instead of look for the things you want to eat sometimes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Which one is more important? Texture being right or the flavor being right? Like from the original meat equivalent.
I'm gonna say for me it's flavor, but being vegan, I've definitely eaten some like subpar things, and I feel like my tolerance for like not that great food is pretty high because you know, sometimes I'm just like, man, I'm just grateful.
This is the cost of doing business, essentially, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so I can eat some like pretty nasty things. So I'm gonna say flavor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say flavor.
Quick aside, speaking of nasty things, what are your thoughts on stinky tofu? Because I feel like stinky tofu technically is vegan, right? Or at least some
Never
parts.
had it.
You never had it? Okay.
Yeah, because I think when I lived in Taiwan, it was like, that was one thing that really shocked me. I was like, what is that smell? Like when I moved,
Yeah.
I couldn't understand like what it was. And smell is something I'm very sensitive to. So that was hard for me to like, you know,
Yeah.
look past that and eat it. Ugh,
Yeah.
my dad likes it though.
Dang, are you eating stinky tofu? Like,
I don't seek it out. Like
yeah, okay.
But if it finds you.
For me, it's like, you know, especially since you've lived in China, like there is this street in Beijing called Wangfujing. It's like a big tourist area, and there's like a section of it where I think even now they sell like bugs.
Yeah, like the scorpions on the
Yeah, and then like the joke among locals from Herd is like people will just basically watch all the foreigners go and eat that and like kind of like point and laugh and like these dumb white people, like they're eating stuff that we're not even eating. Like we're doing this to kind of like pull their leg.
So the equivalent is like watching someone order like a $20 smoothie at Erewhon here, right?
Yeah,
First trip in LA, and you're just like, okay.
Wait, I've ordered one for kicks and giggles.
Yeah, everyone's gonna do it once.
I don't know if I would order it again, but yeah, kind of steep. But okay, so with all the vegan stuff, it sounds like you like, instead of working from, I said hoof to tail, but it's actually snout to tail. So instead of working snout to tail, like a lot of people that consider themselves like elite, like home cooks, do you essentially make everything? Are you able to make like everything that you enjoy eating?
I think for the most part, yeah. When I started being vegan, though, I relied a lot more on the substitutes, like the pre-made like meats, vegan meats, vegan cheeses. And I think kind of as I maybe matured in my veganness, I was a little less reliant on that, because all of that I feel like is meant to replicate what you're used to eating. But once you shift what you're used to eating, you don't really crave those things as much anymore. Of course, like occasionally I'm like, I just really want a grilled cheese. Then I'll do like a vegan cheese, like it's the same, right? So I think those options are important for a lot of people, because not everyone is doing it for the same reasons too. Like for some people it's like health, they can't have meat. I know people that are allergic to meat, or they have like health conditions, in which case like those are really important substitutes. But yeah, I think as you grow as a vegan, you learn to like make more things from scratch. It's usually a little bit healthier, because that's the thing too, is like a lot of people assume that being vegan means you're automatically going to be healthier, but you could really just like be eating Oreos,
stack up potato
fries,
chips.
Literally, chips, like
a diet of fries.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I guess it just depends like how much you really care about health, and like if you have time to. That's the other thing, is like I used to think that anybody and everybody should be vegan and it was easy. And then I realized like there's a difference in where you grow up, the access you have to food, the access to time that you have. Like there is more prep involved in like prepping a vegan meal sometimes, you know? So as I got older too, I like realized like I can't be just saying like everyone needs to be vegan, everyone should be vegan. And like there's allergies, there's illnesses. It's a little bit more nuanced than that.
We don't judge here, but in the hierarchy of vegans, who are the elites and who are the bottom?
Oh, that's a good question.
What does that mean? Like types of vegans or like people?
Types of vegans.
Types of vegans. I mean, I think there's like plant-based, which is people who are just eating mostly plants.
Oh.
People like to argue a lot about what is plant-based and what is vegan. And I think the differentiator is like, if you're not doing it perfectly, they don't consider you vegan. So that means like if you're, let's say, eating a little honey or you're wearing like leather or, you know, things like that, they would say, well, you're plant-based, you're not vegan. Because vegan is the lifestyle, technically.
I can
right?
see people saying that as a slur, almost like, oh,
you're just plant-based.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Or they say you're a health vegan. You know? Like that's like what they say is like your reason for it has to be ethics too for some people, you know? There's a lot of like gatekeeping that kind of goes on, which is why I think people do get such a bad reputation when they're vegan for being like judgmental and things like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think what matters the most is like doing your best. And I'm the type of person that's very encouraging of people even just doing like a dairy-free milk option in their latte because a lot of people doing it imperfectly is going to have much more impact than like one person doing it like super strict, you know, and turning everyone else off. Like I just don't believe in that. And I think that way about social media too, where my audience is not actually vegans. It should really be people who aren't vegan yet or who are curious because vegans already know what they're doing, you know? Like I don't need to please the vegans because that's not my audience. But yeah, so I think that would be plant-based would kind of be maybe like the slur at the bottom of the totem pole. I don't know, maybe up there would be like whole food plant-based vegans, like people who are vegan, but it's like super healthy too. There's like junk food vegans, there's like ethical vegans, there's like vegans that are just like everything they do, like activists. That's another thing is like some people believe you need to be an activist and like protesting and advocating all the time to be vegan. So there's like different groups for sure within the vegan space. Yeah, like kind of like subcategories of being vegan.
Who's like the loudest online?
Probably activists.
Like the PETA types, yeah.
Yeah, but I think I feel like everyone shares the same sentiment, which is like you're passionate about the same cause. It's just like different ways of communicating it. And for some people, the activists are really effective. Like not me, but there are some people that like see that and they're like, damn, like that's a good point. I'm really gonna go vegan. You know, so it's like I try to. It's not for me, but I respect it.
Got it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the way you're describing it, it doesn't sound like just a dietary choice or a practice. It kind of sounds like a faith system or even a religion.
It is definitely like a lifestyle.
Okay.
I would say, yeah.
Okay.
It's not necessarily like it's definitely not a diet. It affects your diet, but it's not a diet per se, and that's why people get really specific about the whole plant-based and vegan thing.
I see.
You know,
Right.
Okay.
like I'm eating a vegan diet versus like I am vegan is like two different things
Ooh.
to most.
Yeah, that's a pretty big distinction.
Yeah. So,
True. No leather goods, huh?
Yeah.
I feel like
but the thing is,
synthetic, right?
the thing is like some people would argue on leather though is like sometimes it's a more sustainable option because vegan leather is plastic. So then there's like, well,
causes
here,
more damage.
Microplastics.
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh
so
my
it's
God.
the truth is like we just live in an imperfect world.
Sure.
It's not a vegan world. The best you can do is your best, and that's like what I've realized being like 10 years vegan now. It's like, look, everyone just has to do their best, and just like mind your business, you know?
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, it comes up, I think, every once in a while, like, and usually it's like someone's friend will say like, oh, I just watched this documentary called What the Health. What do you think about those things? Because like it was really big a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that there are many ways to be healthy and it looks different for everyone. I think in general, more plants is beneficial for most people, but that is like also whole food plant-based type of whole foods I'm talking about. Not like you're eating more plants, but you're eating like a vegan bacon. Like, you know, there are not so healthy foods in every type of diet that you do.
Right.
But you know, growing up with like my mom has an autoimmune disease, my sister has a crazy amount of allergies. I realized like it's not a one size fits all. So it just depends on the person. You know, like if you can't have nuts, it's really hard to be vegan most of the time because it's like cashew cream, almond milk. Like there's a lot of like, yeah. So, or like let's say you have a condition. I mean, it's not necessarily for everyone. So
I see.
yeah.
what do you think about Beyond Meats and like things where it's like they're essentially synthetic meats or lab grown? So like I think a big thing in the news was they're developing or they have developed a meat where it's essentially chicken, like it's cultivated from I guess chicken cultures or like cells, but no chicken was killed in order to create that meat. Like yeah, because that's
wild.
Yeah, this is like this is literally getting into science fiction and morality ethics.
Yeah,
right.
So that's a tough one because it's never existed before. But I have tried it at a vegan like event.
Okay.
And I wrote a piece about it actually for a magazine. And I think what I said was basically, it's kind of like that railroad dilemma where it's like one chicken or one cow has to suffer for the greater good of like many others living. But I think the reality is like people are still going to eat meat. Like that's a fact, I think. And like I've accepted that like people are going to eat meat. It's not a perfect world. So with that in mind, I think having options like this is great because it's something that's needed that is going to result in less harm and less cruelty to more animals. Not only that, but like environmentally, factory farming and the implications for the environment are terrible, you know? So I can see the good in it. It might not be for me necessarily, but I can definitely see the benefit of like having something like that, you know? Because yeah, we have to be realistic too. It's like people are going to eat meat. Like my family's been with me ever since I've been vegan, like around me and like have not gone vegan. So it's like people are going to eat what they want to eat. Providing the best case option is like a great thing, I think.
Do they have to like make a special meal for you, like for family gatherings, or like you bring your own?
I'm pretty like self-sufficient, or like I'll make something for everyone.
Oh,
you know,
yeah, and
that's like the lip that they like.
They pick out all the meat. And all you have is like bell peppers and onions.
Yeah. But you know, to give them credit, my dad was vegan for like 2 years, and my sister for like a year. He did it for his blood pressure, and it worked. He completely got off medication.
For sure.
Wow.
So, you know, they've tried it, and they will be the ones who are like, "Hey, I found this vegan restaurant. Like, let's go and try it together." So they're very supportive.
Very supportive.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very supportive.
Very lucky.
Wow. So I have to ask, when you were eating that synthetic meat, what was going through your mind, and like how did it taste like what you remembered chicken to taste like, and like all that stuff?
I actually feel like vegan chicken is like pretty realistic. Like, have you ever had a vegan chicken nugget?
Can't say I have.
They're pretty like, I think they're pretty spot on. So when I had that, I was just like, this just tastes like a really good vegan chicken. And then I was like, oh, because it's basically chicken, I guess.
It's not like a fried tofu or like.
No. It's like it's got like that shreddy texture and everything. So yeah.
Where can you try that?
Vegan chicken nuggets. You could go to like Plant Power fast food. Monty's, I think, has it.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Monty's.
trying to think where else. There's like this spot in the Bay, Amy's drive-through. I don't know if you know it. It's like somewhere along the coast where you drive to LA, and yeah, there's a lot of like vegan stuff around.
Okay.
Dang.
So we've gathered that you're not the type to impose your beliefs on people, but if you had to make a case for veganism, given your experiences, your friends and family's experiences, how would you explain to people that where it's like they may not like they're not like, oh, I can't imagine ever being vegan, like, but they're open, they're like curious, and they're trying to see, okay, what are the health benefits, what are the social benefits? Like, how would you make a case?
I would say I'm really supportive of making swaps that make sense. So for most people, I think that could start with dairy. Super easy. Like if you're getting a latte out, almond milk, oat milk, or whatever option, probably going to be a lot better for your stomach anyway.
Yeah, if you're lactose, you probably shouldn't be having dairy.
If you're Asian, probably, you know. And then I would say, health-wise, I mean, incorporating more plants, I think, is like the base of it. Tofu's great, you know, like nothing's wrong with tofu. I think like cholesterol, from a cholesterol standpoint, vegan food tends to be very low in cholesterol. Like we don't really have problems with blood pressure and cholesterol. So there's that. But overall, I feel like it's kind of one of those things where I would encourage people to just try one meal maybe every so often, or just like be a little bit more conscious too of like the meat that you are eating, because that's something that I'm big on too, is like if you're gonna eat meat, like be aware of what it is and where it comes from and all that too. Like you can't be disconnected from the food that you're eating. You need to be like aware. So yeah, that's kind of what I would say. Works for me. Same thing with like, you know, sobriety. I don't push it on people. It's just kind of like, I feel good, so if you want to try it. And I focus a lot on the food tasting really good. So I feel like that's kind of my activism, is like cooking for people, sharing recipes and showing them like, this food is really good. It just so happens to be vegan. Because a lot of people think like vegan food is gross. And some of it is, you know?
Yeah, I'm a little of that persuasion.
Yeah. So you gotta like, you know, show them like it doesn't have to be gross, you know? Yeah.
It does also seem like the sobriety and the veganism, they might necessarily go hand in hand, like they're mutually exclusive, but it does seem like it kind of enhances the experience in some ways, right? Because it's like if you're trying to like cut things cold turkey or just make a major lifestyle change,
Yeah.
it feels like doing multiple changes helps the overall process, right?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of like me being extreme again and doing like, I'm going to make like 5 changes in my life at the same time.
Okay.
But I will say that when I went vegan, I felt physically healthier. And then I tried to go back to drugs and it hit me so much harder. I was like, I cannot handle this anymore. Because I feel like my body was like clean, you know? So that was like a big one for me. But I think it's similar value-wise, where it's like you want to do something that's like better for yourself and for your health, and that's like the root of it, is like choosing something that's better for me, better for the people around me. You know, like kind of being a better person and being better to myself. Yeah. And a big value, I think, underlying veganism is compassion. And I realized, you know, I was so worried about being compassionate towards animals, the environment, and other people. I wasn't really worried about myself. And that was like the missing piece for me, and kind of like what inspired me to go sober, was that piece.
Wow. So self-care, it doesn't honestly just even affect you, it affects your community and the people around you too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like addiction specifically, that is a type of disease that affects like everyone around you and like your family. And it's a rough one, you know. It's like you don't think about other people. Like it's a very selfish disease, but like it impacts so many people, like, especially people who've grown up with like, alcoholic parents. Or like a lot of them either become alcoholics too, or they're extremely against alcohol. Like you kind of go one way or the other, but it all has an impact. So I think that was like what also pushed me towards veganism as I was getting sober, was like I feel really good about what I'm doing. You know, like all these things I'm doing, I feel like I have a reason and a purpose, and they're all positive versus just being like destructive or selfish. So
Is there like a show or a movie that when you watch it, it's like a hard watch because it reminds you so much of that struggle back then?
I would say Euphoria.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That'd be the one.
Because, like,
that would be the one.
Yeah. Euphoria. I watched that and I just felt like watching it with other people too was really an experience. Because they'd be like, "This is so crazy," and I'm just thinking to myself like,
That was
like
Monday.
a Tuesday night. Like, you know, but it's sad to see it happening to someone else, because I couldn't see myself going through it, obviously. So when I saw that, I was just like, wow, it's sad to think like these kids are supposed to be so young in the show and they're going through all these things. But it's very real. You know, I think it's just like a lot of that is hidden and not talked about. Like addiction and shame are so related. Like we don't talk about a lot of things that we go through because it's a very like shameful thing.
For sure.
You know, so yeah, but Euphoria, that's a tough one. I'm excited for the new season though. I will be watching.
True.
Yeah, it seems like these things that you've basically put your mark on there in regards to wellness, addiction, lifestyle changes, veganism, they're very like present, especially in like 2026, where a lot of people, they're literally going through like thoughts where it's like, oh, maybe I should go partially vegan, or maybe go whole vegan, or like I think even the whole cutting down alcohol thing, where like mocktails have really become a thing.
Yeah.
It feels like a big pendulum swing.
For sure.
Because there's like so many people, regardless of their ethnicity or background, there are people that drank a lot before, and then to see the drop off happen so quickly over the last few years, it's like it's been really like, whoa, it's something is in the air. Do you feel that as well?
I do feel that because options for me have gotten significantly greater. Like going out to the bar,
This is nice.
Yeah, I can always expect like there's a mocktail, or I can ask for something without the alcohol, and it's not a weird request. And I've noticed it a lot more in terms of telling people that I'm sober and not really getting a weird reaction like I kind of used to. I didn't really talk about it before. Now it's kind of like a thing I can just drop casually and it's not that weird. So
like no one's pressuring you to be like,
yeah,
come on.
No, not really. And I feel like there's awareness that that's like kind of fucked up, right?
Yeah,
so, like,
now you're the jerk.
Exactly. So yeah, I do think it's kind of catching on a little bit. I don't know why necessarily. I think COVID maybe had a lot to do with that.
For sure, yeah.
Death
Like,
of club culture.
Exactly. And just like realizing that it's a social lubricant for a lot of people.
Crutch.
Yeah, and also like disconnects you from yourself a little bit, I think.
True.
I feel like I was more in touch with myself than ever, like once I got sober, because you can't like numb your thoughts anymore with anything, right? Like maybe a lot of caffeine, but like that's kind of it. And you're forced to really get to know yourself. And I feel like that's why now I really feel like I know myself like very, very well, you know?
Did you ever have a moment with like your friends that you were used to, getting high with or drunk with all the time where you realize, man, we got nothing to talk about anymore once you like eliminate that, or did you not experience that?
Some friends, yeah. Like some friends that I would go to the club with, because like you're not really ever talking at the club, right? It's so loud. So in college, like when I started getting sober, I was like, damn, I guess like we're not really that close, because once you remove the club and like the nighttime activities, like there's nothing. So I did have to kind of like find new friends. But there's something so cool about that. Like now I'll just have like puzzle nights with my friends, or like bedazzle. I'm really into bedazzling right now. That's what I'm
Like
on.
Very wholesome.
Like your bag?
Yeah. Like even more sparkly, or like going on a run with a friend, doing like an activity. It's just so much more fun, and you actually remember it and you don't feel like shit. So that's my vouch for. But I also, I don't think everyone needs to be sober. That's like kind of a hot take. I think it is possible for people to have like a healthy relationship with alcohol. It's just not me. Like if you have that like addiction disease, you just cannot be fucking with it,
Say more, because I think, just being blunt, I've always wondered, like on a cognitive level, why people that struggled with alcohol before, like it seems like it has to be like sober, no alcohol, like not even a sip. I
think that's true for addicts for sure. At least for me, I think that's my experience, because I could be addicted to almost anything. Like I had a phase where I was addicted to acai bowls last year, because what I think it is like the addiction part never really leaves you. That's almost part of like your personality.
It's your wiring.
Yeah. I had like a high rocks addiction. I had like a running addiction. Like I really get like
pretty positive.
Yeah, positive things.
But that's the thing, right? It's like just replace it with better things, because I know that about myself now and the way that I am. So I have to choose things that are more positive, but that part of my personality is never really going to go away, I think. So if I were to be like, I could just have like a sip, I gotta have like a drink, I don't think that's going to go well for me.
Interesting.
It's like a slippery slope.
I see.
Because there's no 10%. I'm like in it. Always.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
Have you heard of ultra marathons?
Dude, she's definitely going to do an ultra at some point.
Heard it's exciting.
Yeah. I have heard about it.
Nice.
How many miles is the ultra? Like 100?
100, I think.
Yeah, it's like
I haven't
insane.
even done a marathon, so I'm not.
Okay.
Never say never, but
Yeah.
But hopefully.
Plenty of things to conquer for future Remy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But speaking of your personal endeavors, tell us more about Frauth.
Yeah.
Right. And then and I guess just the whole topic of matcha too, because speaking about being on trend and things being in the air, matcha, dude, like
Taking over. My God.
It is truly fascinating, because I've been like, even in the past year, I've been to like the most random parts of America where they might not have authentic Chinese food, but they'll have a matcha place. It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, let me sit up for this.
Get serious. All right,
I need to
cool.
get in my like comfy position.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Matcha, it's so funny because like you said, with the whole sobriety thing and the veganism, these are things that I feel like were a part of my life for a long time. And I feel like finally it's like catching on. So that part feels really good. I think matcha is becoming like coffee in the sense that it's going through this journey right now where people are interested, but it's still in like the very early phases. Like that initial exposure to maybe like a lower quality matcha, super sweet drinks, like that's kind of what people think of it as. Yeah. Or they think of it like boba. People think like matcha is only at boba shops. It's not going to be for a while, I think, until we get to that point where the average person is more aware of like what better quality matcha is, has an at-home routine, or even like artisanal stuff like third wave coffee. I think that is what's going to happen to matcha in the near future. And it is already happening, because I feel like through social media, people are more aware of what differentiates a lower quality matcha and a better quality one. So I found that social media has been a great place for me to kind of educate people on what to look for if they're interested, because I do think there's something to be said about enjoying what you enjoy. Like some people still drink Folgers and like just very basic coffee, and like
Coffee
there's nothing wrong with that.
Bustelo.
Yeah, my mom likes McDonald's coffee, and like that's what she likes. So like there's something for everyone. But But for the people who are really into it, there's so much information out there. There are like amazing brands popping up. It's easier than ever now, I think, to get into better matcha. And I like that. I see it a lot even in LA. Like the cafes that are really popular, a lot of them are shifting to start using higher quality matcha. The demand is there. Like people know to look for a greener color. They know what ceremonial grade is, which is like a murky term, but like things like that. That's like, I feel like you guys know about that stuff too, right? Like,
Do I?
I think that's all I know. Like
Yeah, I just
ceremonial
know
grade
enough
exists.
to say ceremonial. Just to, you know?
Is that considered the apex, or is that like kind of like because I learned this when I was in Japan, like A5 Wagyu, there's like it comes down to the region too.
yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Not to bring meat into the conversation, but sorry, I'm a carnivore, can't help it. But like, so with matcha, is it basically layers of ceremonial and like?
Ceremonial is kind of one of those terms that's not quantifiable yet.
Interesting.
So in theory, it refers to like a first harvest of matcha. So matcha is harvested once a year, and that first harvest is the best. Every harvest after that, which I think can be up to 4, the nutrients, the flavor, everything starts to degrade because you're essentially growing on like soil that you're reusing for the rest of the year. So usually ceremonial grade refers to like first harvest, first flush, better quality in theory, but nothing is stopping someone from just saying their shit is ceremonial grade. You know, like it's not legally regulated. They're working on it apparently in Japan, but there's no way to kind of quantify like what ceremonial grade means. And then within ceremonial grade, there's like a range. It could be like at the very low end of like ceremonial grade, like grown at a farm where the soil's not great anyway. So even though it's first flush, it's kind of like, you know, tasting a little funky. And then there's like the top of the top. And then like you said, with regions, it's the same thing. There's different cultivars of matcha, which a lot of people don't know. And that would be similar to maybe how coffee has different varieties.
Yeah,
like
Arabica, Robusta.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So like that part, I feel like most people are not super aware of yet. And then there's like single cultivar versus like a blend. So single cultivar, single origin would be like from one farm, one type of leaf, versus a blend, which is like they're just mixing a bunch of stuff.
Right.
So which is not always necessarily a bad thing. Like that's kind of an art in itself. But there's like layers to how granular you can get with the matcha. But typically like ceremonial grade, I would say is like the bare minimum starting line. Because you don't know what it really means, right? It could be at like the base level. But you know, some people enjoy culinary matcha, and that's awesome for your bank account. So it's like if you like it, by all means, right?
Got it.
Like that's amazing.
What's like a drink that you that kind of brings out the matcha flavors? Because I feel like once I get matcha lattes, it's kind of just most milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't really tell if the matcha is that nice.
Green milk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think Americano or just like straight up is the best way to actually taste all the flavors in a matcha. But with a latte, I either get like a double shot or I just like really am mindful about how much milk I put in because it's like you said, like it really waters it down. And there are certain cultivars that would be better for a latte versus others that are more mild. So you kind of have to like play around a little bit, which is why it's so hard to get a good latte at a cafe because you don't know what milk they're using. You don't know what matcha they're using. Like there's so many variables. Like barista's having a bad day, you might have a shit latte. Like it's just like there's so many things that go into it. But
tonics.
Tonics are delicious. Yeah, I love a
love
tonic.
I was hoping you'd say matcha tonics are ways to.
Yeah. I've been
Honestly,
right the whole time.
I want to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think matcha tonic is great. The one at Damo's really good. Is that the one you like?
Oh yes, I love Damo. Shout out
Clocked
to
it.
Damo.
Wow.
One of my
Wow.
favorite spots.
Clocked it.
Nice. So if someone like a matcha novice were to be like, Remy, explain to me like what's good matcha, like in a very like pedestrian way, where you could be like, hey, like people have their preferences, but if it tastes like sugar, like
Yeah.
so it's like if it's like super sweet, it's like probably not the best
Yeah.
quality.
I would say a matcha where you can really taste that the matcha is there, like a bold flavor. It shouldn't be too bitter though. Like there's a difference between like astringency and bold flavor and umami, and then there's like bitterness,
Okay.
which is usually a sign of like lower quality or oxidized matcha. But in general, I think color is a good indicator. It's not the only, but it's a good indicator of like, you know, the vibrancy of the matcha is pretty important. But yeah, again, I feel like it's important that it comes from Japan, ideally first harvest or ceremonial grade. But I think the best matcha is like the one that you enjoy. Like I kind of feel like there's no such thing as the best matcha because it just depends on the person or like even your mood, you know?
Ooh, like I love Ethiopian beans for coffee. Like I don't like any other country really. Like I want to one day I want to figure out where I like
Clip that.
Yeah.
like what type of like matcha or what specific region I like in Japan.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of people don't really explore. They just try it once, or they have it at one cafe.
Yeah.
And it's hard too at a cafe because you don't know what they're using. So I think the best way is to like experiment at home, and you'll kind of figure out what you like. But I'm a big believer in like trying everything like twice. You know.
That's a good point because I feel like your average person, whether in LA, New York, or anywhere in between, they'll be like, "Oh, I like this place because it has good matcha," and that's it. That's the extent of their knowledge on it.
Exactly.
But okay, so with Frauth, what are you trying to do with that, and like, what makes it great matcha? Because at this point I can't imagine you offering bad matcha.
I think for me, what I love the most about Frauth is it felt like a natural progression of the content that I was making. So I started a separate account. It was called Matcha Mommy. And it was just because I was posting way too much about matcha on my main page. And I was like, this is starting to get like overkill. So I was like, let me make a separate account. And I was really like nerding out on there, like sharing a lot of education about all the stuff that we kind of talked about and just helping people make better matcha at home and not have such a terrible experience with it, or like providing alternatives like, hey, why don't you try X, Y, and Z? Why don't you try this whisk? Because I really believe that a lot of it comes down to just figuring out what works for you and what you like. And so then when I started the matcha brand, a big part of it for me was actually being Japanese, because when you think about a lot of the popular matcha brands that exist in the US, most of them are not Japanese owned. There's very few that are owned by someone who's actually Japanese. And when I realized that, you know, at first I was kind of like, that's so weird. Like, why is that? And then I was like, you know, instead of complaining about it, I should just do something about it and make it happen. And it's not as easy maybe as most people would think, but having that Japanese heritage makes it a little easier when you're in Japan to connect with the farmers there and have access to matcha that not everyone has. So I relied a lot on my grandma to like vet the matcha that we were using, because all of my initial exposure came from her. And I was like, I really want to find something in the US that tastes and feels like what I grew up drinking, and most of the stuff that's available is not it. There's some really great stuff though, like don't get me wrong, and I don't think you have to be Japanese either. Like one of my friends, Zach, owns a matcha brand called Kettle. He's white, but he's probably more Japanese than me. Like he's like really in the culture, married to a Japanese woman, speaks better Japanese than me. But it comes down to like respect for the culture, and that's what I think is important that a lot of brands are missing. Understanding and respect and doing it kind of like the right way, or as authentically as possible. And that's like what I'm hoping to do, is to make it accessible, to have good matcha for people to try, and to kind of really make that Japanese culture like a part of it in a modern way though, you know? And yeah.
That's what
So. Hi. But mostly it was like, this is a problem that I want solved. Like, why is it so hard to find good matcha that I like? And also, why is all of it coming from Uji? You know, like, why are other regions not really highlighted? And like, people don't understand that matcha can come from other regions. So that's another thing that I wanted to introduce.
So were you like boots on the ground in Japan when you like whole process, huh?
Actually, before COVID, I lived in New York, and at that time I was like ready to launch. This was like maybe like 6 years ago.
Wow.
But then I didn't have access to that farm anymore because of COVID. Like they kind of shut down their facility, and like the amount that they could produce each year became smaller and smaller. So I was like, you know what, it's okay. Like we don't need to launch a product right now. Like COVID times, it was like, there's other things I need to be doing with my time. And then once the idea kind of came back to mind, I was like, I need to just make it happen, go to Japan, find the right farm partners, and just do it, you know? So we're not like the biggest brand, but I don't think that's the goal either, because realistically, there's a cap on like how much matcha you can produce in a year if you're doing it the right way. So, yeah,
definitely an opportunity cost between like, do you want to just like push out product, or do you want the quality to be
exactly
point, right?
Exactly.
One final question about matcha as a whole, it's like, because I think especially kids that grew up in like the 80s and 90s that like watched Karate Kid or whatever, like there's like a very ritualistic element to it. So like how do you interact with that?
So I think what I love about it is that it is like a ritual. It feels like very meditative to me in the morning, to take time. Yeah. And I can do it pretty quick. I can make it
to it.
Yeah, exactly. It does take some time compared to maybe like what's that thing, like the espresso pods? But there's something nice about that.
Nespresso?
Yeah, espresso,
Because it's
Keurig,
like,
yeah.
I'm taking the time to make something for myself, and like, it forces you to kind of slow down, I think. A big part of like Japanese tea culture is that mindfulness and that like Zen feeling. But I also am a big fan of like a lot of the modern techniques that people are applying to it, like cream tops. Not for me personally, but I think it's cool and it's innovative. Yeah, so I feel like tradition is important and I love it and I always respect it, but there has to be like a way where it can evolve and we start modernizing and making it accessible for the average person too. It's just like coffee, like not everyone's gonna do the full on like drip setup and have all the crazy equipment, but a select few will.
I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, I heard that making matcha fresh versus steeping it for a long time, there's like difference in like the flavor, or people say like it might taste even better if you steep it for a while versus like making it fresh. Do you know anything about that? I feel like I heard that somewhere and I've always been curious.
Do you mean like the tea leaves versus like matcha powder, or?
I should have probably like, it just kind of came to mind, but I think it's because I was at like some matcha spot and I thought they make it for you on the spot, but they just like went to a fridge and just like poured the joint out.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Do you know what that is?
I think it's actually the reverse, where they will like batch prep basically the shot of matcha, and it's like really for the flow of the cafe, because it's a lot of labor, especially some of these spots like in OC. Oh my god, the numbers they're doing, crazy. So like, just to keep up with it, like your wrists can't handle it. So I think that's why a lot of them batch it.
It's just better to batch a huge joint, put the labor, finish it, and then you could just serve the rest of it. Okay. So
like that, in my opinion, it's not going to taste as fresh. But if the cafe is actually going through it quick enough, it's not terrible. Like, it's just like functional, Ideally though, like fresh is definitely best. And it's kind of crazy because if you were to leave out matcha powder, like 2 tins open, exposed to like oxygen and sunlight, within like a few hours, it starts to like oxidize and the color will change. So it's the same concept with like, almost, honestly, but more like gray. It's kind of really gross. Yeah. But I think it's the same thing where it's like, it's not gonna be the freshest, but like, how important is it to you? I don't know. Like, do you want to wait like 10 minutes or do you want to just have like the drink made? But these cafes are doing numbers. I think it can be done,
Do you have any favorites or ones that?
Yeah, I have a lot of favorites. So in New York, favorites I have are 12 Matcha.
Okay.
Really, really good.
All right.
Kettle, I really love. Sobriety, I really love. They just do everything so well there. I tried Matcha 108, was really good. Those are kind of like the main places that I really go to out there. Then in LA, I would say Archives of Us, probably my number one.
Where's
really
that?
good. It's in downtown.
Oh,
or Chinatown.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nick told me about that.
Yeah,
Archives of
you guys
Us.
gotta go.
A little bit about.
So good.
Yeah.
And I'm not biased. Like, he's a good friend of mine, but it's like genuinely so good.
Okay.
Archives of Us is amazing. I really like. What else do I like in LA? I like Yeem's coffee, but only for the strawberry matcha. That's like my go-to. So good.
Oh, okay.
They make the best strawberry milk.
Oh, in K-Town.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeem's
okay,
is
I
so
see.
good.
Yeah.
Where else do I really go?
Any places in South Bay? Big Japanese community out there, or
There's a new
hotel?
place,
Yeah.
Junya.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Just
That's pretty good.
opened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me. I'll tell you something about that later. But I haven't been, but I heard it's really, really good. So yeah, like there's not a lot of places. Kettle in LA too. There's not a lot of places I go. I'm very loyal to like. The thing is, like, if I'm gonna pay for a matcha latte and I'm not gonna make it myself, it has to be really good.
Yeah.
You know.
What about community goods? Don't they?
Honestly, it's not
don't
bad.
They got some. Okay, are they known for their matcha? I still haven't been.
I think so. Like, I'm friends with Rocky. They use their matcha there, and I think it's really good. The only thing is like the line. So.
Yeah, I hear.
But my little sister loves to go, so I end up going there like every so often.
And she waits the line?
Oh yeah, but we have our routines. Like, we go, she lines up, I go like run some errands around the area, I come back, and I'm like ready
smart.
to go.
That's big sister.
big
Big
brain.
Community Goods is pretty good. I like Olive and James too. It's around the area,
Yeah.
West Hollywood.
Oh, I've been there. And yeah.
There's probably more, but like, I honestly don't go to cafes too often, and I go like the same ones all the time. I'm like, you want to have a meeting? Let's go to Archives of Us. You know.
Got it.
True.
So yeah, there's a lot of like amazing options in LA, and I think more to come. Like, cafes are opening every fucking day. I feel
For
like.
sure.
It's true.
For sure.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah. Can we get froth at any of these cafes?
So we were sold at Swa, which is my friend's cafe in Larchmont Village, for a little bit. but honestly, like the numbers that the cafes are doing here is a little crazy, and our
like,
matcha.
Can't keep up.
Yeah, like we'd end up kind of selling out. And I think for me, the priority is making sure that people who are buying it for their daily routine at home have access to it. Because I know I would be pretty upset if, my daily item was like out of stock for like a while.
Yeah.
And we had that issue when we first launched where we sold out pretty quickly and then we didn't have stock until like a few months later. So
Yeah, it's frustrating.
that's like my priority. But I think in this year, we'll start working with a few cafes. It's just, I'm also very protective of like the way that it's being prepared. I really want people's experience with it to be good. So, yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's exciting.
No microwave matcha coming from
Ideally
Remy.
not.
Yeah.
What are some of like your favorite spots for matcha?
Man, there's this one spot. I don't know if you would know it offhand. It's in the Mitsuwa at Del Amo Fashion Center.
Oh.
But there's like, you know how like some Mitsuwas, they have really fancy like food courts? There's this one, I wish I knew it off the top of my, I'll look it up afterwards. But like, I remember having that thinking like, oh, this is probably what matcha is supposed to taste like.
Is it the one they have like the soft serve?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah. You know
I
what
think
I'm
they
talking
use Ito and matcha there.
about. Okay. I'll take your word for it.
I think.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because we have Mitsuwa in Jersey too.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I mean, I already said it earlier, like Damo. I like Damo, but I'm still on my matcha journey. Still learning.
Me too. No, there's like
Yeah.
so much to learn always, so.
I think I understand your strategy now. You're like slowly like, you're like, oh, try this. Let's see what you think, and then that's how people get hooked.
Yeah.
I will say like it's tough with matcha. Once you experience like a really high grade of matcha, it's kind of hard to go back. So I've had a lot of friends tell me like, oh man, like you've just ruined matcha for me. Like my spot is not going to cut it anymore. But my plug is that I think if you make matcha at home, even though matcha powder can be expensive, you're almost always going to save money. Because like, especially in LA, dude, lattes are like $10.
Yeah. Yep.
Especially oat milk.
Mm-hmm.
You get a cream top. Like it's not cheap. So 2026, we should make matcha at home.
Man, if you ever do if you need like taste testers or something,
Yeah.
taste testers, hey, we'll give you colorful language.
I should have brought matcha with me, like the whole thing, but I didn't know if you guys had like hot water and stuff. Next time.
Next time.
Yeah, put us in one of your videos. We'll just,
Yeah.
Try not to like.
No, dude, I've done a taste test with matcha with I don't know what. I think like people just brought random bags. I don't know if they're the same type, but I remember they like put it with a little bit of water and we're just like with a spoon, like drinking it. I'm like, yo,
That's hardcore.
Yeah.
it tastes like the same, like or like it was really hard for me to. It just started tasting the same, so I was like, it would be nice to do that with like a professional.
Oh, we should do like a taste test of like different varieties, so you could really like experience the difference in the notes and stuff. That would be fun.
Yeah, dude.
That'd be very.
We have to do a part 2, I think, because that would be really fun.
Like it's like wine tasting, but matcha tasting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
Well, Remy, we feel like we've learned a ton about you and about matcha and veganism. Appreciate you having you on the podcast, and we have a gift for you, actually.
Is it matcha?
No, we wouldn't dare.
No.
We wouldn't dare. We have a pair of 1587 sneakers for you.
Wow.
So 1587 is a New York-based brand founded by Asian Americans.
Love
and
it.
the 1587 represents the first documented year Asian Americans came to America. So
Oh, I love that. Can I open it now?
you can open it now. We probably need to get a different size for you because if
This is the studio pair.
This is the studio
see.
pair?
It's gonna be.
Okay, big.
Yeah. Kind of big, but
Wait,
good for
very
the camera.
cute. Very clean.
Very clean.
Yep,
for
Love
sure.
it.
Way bigger than your head. Oh,
Yeah,
dang.
we'll fix that in future episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Very cute. Thank you,
for
guys.
sure. And then we always like to end our episodes with 3 questions.
Okay.
What was the first question?
First question is, jeez.
It's been a while. We've been traveling.
Oh, yeah. The holiday break.
Wait, was it the
What is it? What was the first question? Man.
God dang, hold on. I'm gonna pull my phone out and then we'll edit this shit out. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry.
This is the one time we have
Is
to
it the
do
same
edits.
questions all the time? Or
We try to follow, like, it's kind of like a podcast convention where at least the podcast we appreciate there's a certain structure.
yeah,
Like
like a rapid
yeah,
fire.
exactly.
Okay, cool.
But it's not
I love
too
like
rapid.
the little bits people do like on their shows. I think that's really fun.
Yeah.
It was the favorite food spot. album. And what was the third one?
No, there's one before.
What was the one before?
I feel like it's like what is home to you.
No, that was last season.
No, it's because I know last season.
Maybe we should keep this. Maybe we should keep this in the.
Yeah, it's the evolution. This is a 2026
Yeah, no,
version.
seriously, because I
This
know
is
this
what it
for
takes.
season 1, but we wanted to change it up a little bit.
Yes.
For season 2, but I can't seem to find it. So it's all part of the whole bit. Team Verk. Okay.
Okay, so search for 3 questions. Wow, this is how the sausage gets made for a podcast. Or the vegan sausage gets made. Oh. Now you remember, right?
Oh, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Duh. Psh. This is a whole. It's just to show our humanness. All right. So, all right. Here we go. First question: who do you consider to be your local god?
Whoa.
Someone who you think is like underrated or needs to just, get more shine.
Oh my God, there's so many people. I feel. I'm gonna say my sister, my youngest sister.
Okay.
She is like such an amazing artist, and she's like a little shy about it, but she's so talented. And she just started tattooing, and it was actually through a mentorship with the tattoo artist that I kind of first got connected with here in LA, Chani in K-Town, and she's been doing like so amazing, and I'm really proud of her. There's like so many people like that I wish out, but it's like if I say one, I have to like do them all, So I'm gonna say my sister.
Okay.
I got you.
So you could get a tattoo with her.
Cool.
Okay.
How do we find her?
Yeah.
Find her on Instagram, inked by Aves, Aves.
Okay.
And she's really good.
Cool.
That's my answer.
Very nice. All right. Solid. Okay. Where is your most favorite food spot in the world?
In the world.
And what's your order?
your
What do
order
you get there?
Oh my God.
Because you've been around the world, so there
Yeah.
are spots. It could be spots, not just one.
Okay, I'm gonna do like 3.
Okay.
One I'm gonna do in New York, which is ABCV, and it's Jean Georges vegetarian restaurant.
Oh, interesting.
Lots of vegan, mostly vegan. So good, and I always get the green hummus there. I'm like obsessed with it. I'm a very habitual eater, so like I go to New York, I know I'm getting that.
Okay.
Love that. And then I'll also get the mushroom walnut bolognese, and they make a homemade pasta.
Oh, that sounds really good.
So good.
Yeah.
So that's like my go-to in New York. What else do I really like? I'm trying to think of something that I love in LA. I really like Pine and Crane in LA. Shout out Taiwan. Love the sesame noodles. Really good.
Nice.
Very classic.
And I love that spot because I feel like you can go with non-vegans and everyone has a
Yeah,
good
you
time.
can find something for everybody.
Yeah, like it's just good food, It's not like specific. And then, another one in LA, Baker's Bench. That's probably another local god that I would shout out because I think she's she's like a plant-based eater, but she used to work at the French Laundry and she never talks about that. And she makes amazing all vegan pastries and it's like the best croissant I've ever had, vegan or not.
What?
Like you would never know.
Baker's Bench?
Man, a vegan croissant, you said?
I'm intrigued.
And she's like just always in it and like working, like I always try to like tell people because I'm like, first of all, it's just really good. And second of all, like people need to know how good your shit is. So that's my other one. She's in Echo Park.
Awesome.
Wait, I'm in Echo
I
Park.
know.
Where?
You know where the Cassell's is? The new location? By Heavy Water Coffee?
Okay. Heavy
It's in
water.
that little-
Yeah. Oh, in that small little.
Yeah. It's so good.
Interesting.
You gotta go. It's amazing.
Heavy water.
Check
Wow,
it
that's
out.
like a really neighborhood deep cut. The fact that I know it, I mean, it's only because I live here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only
Oh
because
my
I go
gosh.
there that I know it. But that's another one. And then I think that's good for now. Yeah, off the top of my head.
Okay, nice. And then lastly, what's like an album that's on rotation right now? One of your favorites?
I feel like my music taste is all over the place. Like I love like Justin Bieber, but I'm also like really into like I like A$AP Rocky. I like Travis Scott.
Nice.
Like Cardi. So like it's kind of all over the place. But I always come back to like Journals, Justin Bieber. That was like his prime.
Interesting.
Wow.
That's not. I don't typically hear that. That's
When
very
are you
interesting.
turning it on?
Yeah.
Yeah, if music is a mood altering.
Okay, I haven't listened to it in a long time, but like that's just like a solid one where like I think about it, like how many songs do I have from an album saved in the, yeah.
Fair.
I kind of jump around with my music taste. So,
Fascinating.
Wow.
Okay.
yeah.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Right now it's a lot of Gunna. So
Oh.
Ooh, gonna wanna. All right.
yeah,
Nice. Nice.
yeah.
Honestly, yeah, man. Gunna had a good album. Solid.
Good album, good for working out.
For sure. Good for making matcha.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Remy Morimoto Park. For people that don't already follow you, how can they find out about your stuff online?
You can follow me pretty much everywhere at Veggiekins, and then Frauth Matcha, Frauth. And yeah.
Sounds good. So thank you for joining us on the podcast again. Like, follow, subscribe, all that stuff so you can get amazing episodes with
wait.
people like Remy. Oh,
I need to guess your
yes.
signs.
you want to guess our
Oh,
signs?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna guess your signs. Okay.
Was this agreed upon before we got on there?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, low key.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
Why not?
yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna do 3 guesses, but okay. I will say it's
That's like a quarter of
No. It's like the thing is, it's really hard. I feel like in a podcast setting because we're like on work mode, so it's not like we're
Okay.
just like yapping. You know what I mean?
That's fair. Okay.
So okay, I only had an hour. I'm gonna say for you, Pisces, potentially, or Libra, or Pisces, Libra, or maybe Taurus. That's what I'm
Nice.
feeling.
Nice.
No, yes, no.
Wait, you don't want to guess all of us first?
Okay, for you, I feel Capricorn, Leo,
Interesting.
or Cancer.
Nice. All right. How we do the grand reveal? Like, yes, you guessed one of the 3, or did she? All right, you start here.
None of the 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so I felt Leo because Leos are usually great speakers, great on camera, a very like leader presence, like big energy, very confident. And then Capricorn I feel is similar because it's very like on it, workaholic, very structured, very organized. And then Cancer I thought because that one trips me up a lot recently, and it's because sometimes they're very in control of their emotions. So it's like they're just very direct and like great with communication because they're very in control of their emotions. So that's why I thought those 3.
Very flattering, but I don't think I'm any of those, honestly. But I
What,
appreciate
do you know
it.
what yours is?
Yeah, for
Maybe
sure.
that's like your podcast like mode, you know?
Maybe. Yeah, good
Mm-hmm.
point. I guess just reveal. I'm Pisces.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Shock. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
I don't know. Like, anyways,
None for me.
Really? Oh my god. That's bad.
She's 0 for 2.
stick to making matcha,
I'm
girl.
usually really good.
Actually, she's 0 for 6.
I'm usually really good. Okay.
Wait, what are the? Wait, I want a description.
So Pisces, I thought because like, okay, so you have like a fit on. Okay, another one I want to say is Aries, but anyways, you have like a fit on, like the details are there, you know, like they're very into like art, aesthetics, like presentation, but can be very like go with the flow. The other one I thought was, what did I say? It's like losing my.
I don't remember. Richard, you remember?
Pisces was one.
Pisces
Libra.
was my
You said
main one.
Libra.
Libra.
Yeah.
Okay, Libra also has that. Oh, I said Libra and Taurus.
Yes.
Libra has a touch of like that into like aesthetics, but it's like a little bit more what's like on trend. I feel like you like know what's on trend. Like you're talking about like the Damo tonic and stuff like that, and like you like are aware of all of like these things that we're talking about like in culture. And then Taurus is similar in the sense that like you're into aesthetics and like you're into what you're into style wise, but it's like for you. It's not like performative. It's not like what's on trend. It's just like who you are.
Also very flattering. Thank you.
But Aries, I'm gonna say because also like can have a similar vibe, but
Oh.
yeah.
Snap.
Interesting.
Anyway,
Mine
that's
is
crazy.
a Cancer.
Oh my god. Okay, interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah.
did
So
we-
you ended up guessing like you said the right ones, but then for opposite.
Yeah.
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 Huh,
Fascinating.
Cancer. Okay.
Are we a perfect pair?
We'll leave that for the next episode, local
Comment
guys.
below. Let me know.
Comment below. But Remy Morimoto Park again, Veggiekins, and then your matcha
Frauth.
handle, Frauth. F-R-A-U-T-H.
AUTH.
F-R-A-U-T-H.
Yep.
Join us next week for the next episode. Peace.
Peace.